welcome. So we're on week 2 of Starseed Awakenings. This is the Arcturians. If you had a chance to read through the Starseed characteristics, it's very interesting to see the Arcturians, for me personally, are my first introduction to star nations, to legit star nations away from Star Trek. So there's going to be quite a few books that I'm referencing, but I want to share a very brief story, which started in 2018 when I was in Texas doing training for my Atlantean healing. And I was receiving a healing and it was marvelous. I loved it. And part of the imagery that came through, or the vision, was that I was on a ship. And I would love that, right? It didn't scare me at all, but it was very old school. So I'm sure it wasn't accurate. It's very Star Trek Enterprise from the 1960s. So it had like kind of like all these like flip switches and all these like large bubble buttons. And that was my thought. I didn't say it out loud in that in that experience. I was just like, is this Starship? And then there are these two beings that were in these like captain's chairs and they swiveled around, and they were just extraterrestrials, nothing out of the ordinary from what we picture extraterrestrials to look like. And they had said to me, you know what time it is, Priscilla? And I said, time to read We the Arcturians? And they're like, yes, boom. And then I was right back in the room with everyone else that I was receiving a healing from. So that was my introduction. I had seen that book, We the Arcturians, many times because it's in the same Atlantean and Egypt section that I go to in our local bookstore. This is the book. It's written by Dr. Norma Milanovic. I'm not sure that I recommended it on my list because this book is written in the 80s and I feel like it was channeled at a time when a lot of information wasn't out there yet. So when you read it, it's like 100 pages of this book is just the starship Athena. Okay, it's like, what does this room do? It's what it looks like. What does the pilot's chair look like? It's that kind of thing. It's very detailed, but it would be really transformative in the 80s when this information wasn't out there. So I don't find it overly enjoyable to read, which is why I don't recommend it a lot. But if you're like a hardcore Arcturian starseed and you want to know everything, then this is like the first book that started it all. Okay, so this is a wonderful book. But when I went to Ascendant Books in that particular time, I bought 3 because that's how I do. These 3 I bought together, and I read them in the summer of 2018. Now, what was fascinating for me was this book, Arcturian Anthology by Tom Kenyon and Judy Sion. Tom Kenyon has some wonderful stuff in general, okay, but the Arcturian Anthology is basically 8 different Arcturian / Ascended Masters that come through and deliver messages. Now, the synergy of me reading this book was at the same time I was preparing to teach my first round of Usui Reiki level 1. And what this brings forward is Sanat Kumara. So those of you that study Reiki or practice Reiki, if you know Sanat Kumara, he is known as like an ascended master from this planet in the White Brotherhood, a Hindu god. But what this talks about is how Sanat Kumara is actually an Arcturian, a very, very high dimensional Arcturian that has been looking over our particular part of the galaxy for the last 90 million years, which I think is amazing. And it goes through how he basically approached Master Usui on the mountain to give him the codes. Now, so what we know about the Arcturians is that they are actually or listed or said as the greatest healers and the most high dimensional beings we have in the entire known galaxy, perhaps the universe. So when we think of Reiki healing, and if you've done your studies with that, and it's like, we know that Master Usui went for 21 days on Mount Karama, which is very similar to Sanat Kumara, right? It's just a little play in the words there, Mount Karama. Then he fasted, he was there for 21 days, and all of a sudden he got this big download of these symbols. But when you investigate it further, at least from his perspective, and what I resonate with is that Sanat Kumara came down and taught him these symbols and these ways of Reiki. Now, I was teaching like that since 2018. In 2019, I took a course at the Modern Mystery School on Insophic Reiki. Insophic Reiki, according to them, is the highest form of Reiki on the planet. It's the most pure. There's no any kind of dilution from these original teachings. And what I was so fascinated about in my class was that my teacher, who doesn't know anything about me, brought in Sunat Kumara, and she's like, he is the bringer of Reiki to the planet, along with Jesus. And I was like, that makes so much sense to me. So this book also talks about how Jesus and Mary Magdalene are Arcturians. But that's the beautiful thing about these masters in our universe. They are not by any means the same as us. They're not just human. They're not just Arcturian. They, of course, go to many systems and help elevate the consciousness around different worlds. So this is a really worthwhile book. It does have, it comes with a CD, so I feel like it's about $50, maybe something like, maybe it's not that expensive, 25 it says, but it did come with a CD that you can meditate with. The Arcturian sounds he uses are a little bit irritating, but good. And then the other two that I use a lot, and this is a lot of where our journey comes from. This is Connecting with the Arcturians by David G. Miller. Now, as far as I know, he has 2, 3, and 4 volumes of this, but I haven't been able to find them and I can't order them as of yet. This book is wonderful if you're already interested in healing and light, in energy, and understanding more concepts, because it provides you the way to use a gateway to access the Temple of Tomar, which we're going to today. It gives you a wonderful way to grid yourself, which I'm going to go over. When I'm in my rituals, I will do it for sure once a week. I used to do it every single day, but it's one of my favorite books, and that's why I bought this other book that he has, which is Arcturians, How to Help, or How to Heal, Ascend, and Help Planet Earth, which then just puts you on a bigger star mission, starseed mission. It's not as interesting as the first book that I have from him, but I do like it. So that's my Arcturian collection thus far. And I will also go back to this book I would have mentioned last week, because this is what's nice about Diana Cooper's Dragon book. She has listed, you know, at least 15 galactic dragons. And so they come into the meditation today too. And this is how I do my work, is that I thread everything that I resonate with in terms of what I read. I thread it together. I use it in my own meditations and I see what they want to bring forward. When I was bringing this course together last year, I would meditate for about 5 hours a week with the certain beings and see what they wanted me to do in terms of journeys, healings, activations. And the Arcturians in particular, like Priscilla, you already got it. Just piece it all together. Take what you already know and bring it all together for the experience. So it's definitely one of my favorite. The Arcturian alignment comes in every April and October. It's they call it, I think, more of a stargate or a gateway, the Arcturian gateway maybe. And it's very short. It's usually about 3 days, but in my opinion, you can do whatever you want with it. Now, Alex would have heard this already, but on Saturday, I was just in a little bit of chaos emotionally, and I went for a walk with my husband at night with our dog, and there were certain stars that were out. There was about 8 stars, and Arcturus is known to be one of the brightest in our system from what we can see. It's a very, very huge, giant red star, and I saw a red star. Whether that's Arcturus, I don't know, but I took it upon myself to ask my brothers and sisters in the cosmos to help me. And I just want to say how amazing it was. I don't get out of the city very much, so just to see stars was really nice, and for it to be a clear night. But this is something that I want to instill in all of us, is like, when we're going through these practices, again, they're not one-offs. It's the whole point of this course, I feel like, is to make an established connection. Maybe not with all of them, because maybe after 6 weeks, there'll be 2 or 3 that are your favorite. But to start really understanding that yes, they can guide us. They're not ascended master guides for the most part. But they're helpers. They're more advanced civilizations. They've been through this. They know what Earth is going through. And so the more you learn to embody your starseed nature, I feel like the better flow that we're in. And then things don't surprise you. The card deck that I really like right now, I think I talked about it last week too, is the Gateway of Light Activation by Kyle Gray. I'm always looking for starseed things. I really want to make my own starseed deck. I think he did an amazing job. This is the card for the Arcturian one. Evolutionary downloads, recalling your power in future thinking. So get it. Yeah. So the images that I used from Vashta Narada or Narada Vashta are, she's really good at channeling star beings. So I feel like she's, again, her images resonate for me, I think. So Arcturians in general tend to have a light bluish skin, a bluish green skin. They're really funny. I feel, just maybe hands up. Have any of you guys worked with Arcturians before already? Alex, you have. Anybody else? Alex, do you find that they're funny to you? Or are they humorous, or what is their personality like with you?
I haven't encountered that much humor. I feel like I have a little bit more with serious, but I feel like Arcturus has been more approachable to me, but I also feel like that's my origin point.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good. Okay. Well, they can be, to me, they can be like 4 feet tall. They can be super tall, like in our cosmic activation circle in October. We had about 30 people there, and I want to say I had 10 people after tell me that. So I saw Arcturians. They were all over this place, and I asked what they look like, because I'm just curious what they seem like to other people. And most of them said they seem like quite tall, like 8, 9 feet, 10 feet tall, very blue, most of them bald. For the humor part, when I'm doing a healing with somebody that I know is open and I can share with, the Arcturians will come into my healing. They will shrink themselves down into just, about this size. They go in these little ships, and then they run up and down people's pranic tubes or their backbone, just zip, 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 zip. And usually they come in with like a lunchbox and kind of like a little hard hat. And they're like, yeah, we're going to work. We have to do this, Priscilla. I'm like, okay. But they do it so fast, and then they come out. Or they will work on repatterning people's brain waves and their intellect and thinking, and they'll open it up, and then same thing, they shrink down, and then they just start working on all these things, and they like to throw out stuff like their old floppy disk, like, old program, we don't need it, and they throw it out and they laugh and they giggle, and then they bring in like all these light rays. So initially I won't tell my clients that's what happened, because I'm always interested to see what their experience is. And I'd say it's about a 50% chance that the way the Arcturians work on them, they will tell me, like, Priscilla, like, I know your hands are on my head, but I felt this incredible energy go up and down my back, like it was just zipping up, down, up, down. I'm like, oh, those are the Arcturians. And I just think they're making themselves more well-known. Most people I know in my cosmic circles have an Arcturian guide, and they're very familiar with them, and they are wonderful, wonderful master healers. So for anyone that's in the kind of work, in light work at all, when you meet your guide today, see what you think. My guide's name is Raphael. I probably met him in 2018. I argued with him, as was my motto then. I didn't believe his name was Raphael because I didn't want him to be like Archangel Raphael. And what I encourage you to do now is just to accept their name instead of arguing. It's such a waste of time, but like, they're either going to be something really fantastical and mystical and like the most beautiful name you've ever heard, or they're like, my name's Peter. And you're just going to have to be like, okay, Peter the Arcturian, cool. It's just going to save you time and your ego. So I really want to get started on this journey. Is there any questions for me before we start? You guys see? No, feeling good. Okay. So whatever you want to do to be comfortable, but hopefully that you can stay awake, but no judgment if you fall asleep. It's just what your body needs. And like I said, on my side, I dim my lights. I try to match the vibrancy or the vibration of the group I'm working with. So with Arcturians, I tend to sit with blue light. But I did want to show you something. Hold on. Let me bring you back up here. sorry. I wanted to show you how to make the grid of light. And I will be giving a little bit more of an explanation tomorrow. And mind my socks if you see it, my feet are cold. The Arcturian grid of light is done in a couple of ways, okay? So number one, you put a Star of David underneath your feet, you step into it, you put a Star of David above, okay? Now this is a protective grid, and it's 12 horizontal lines. The way they don't explain how to do it, but this is the way I do it. It's like a clock. So I start at 12 and 6, okay? So I'm making 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, okay? So that's like the horizontal lines. Then you make 10 circles that go around you. Sorry, that was vertical, horizontal. But I kind of do them on an angle so that when they cross, they'll look like this. So I do a circle around my feet, one around my knees, one around my hips, my shoulders, my head. Then I do it the opposite way. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. From there, I just stand in that light and I ask to be shielded in white, blue, and silver light. And I just imagine it like an orb around me. And when I go forward in my day like that, I feel very protected. It's a great way to communicate with the Arcturians or any type of starseed. And it's a wonderful practice that I said I've added into my rituals. And I was really good at doing it every single day. And then as my rituals grew, I kind of dropped some of it. But that one is a great way to connect with them. So I am going to give you a little bit more details about it in a kind of follow-up email, as well as a mantra you can practice to really come into alignment with the Arcturians. Okay, so lights on my end are going to be blue. In general, Arcturians, we have that blue silver type of light. And you can play the music that I included in the email, or perhaps something else that feels good for you. And we're just going to take some deep breaths. And we're going to do a little bit of a different type of connection than we did last week. So last week we used the blue Syrian orbs with the chakras coming through. This is going to have a little bit more of an Arcturian feel to it. So in the space you're in right now, taking some deep breaths just to calm your body, calm your heartbeat, and allow your mind to settle in. No matter what the day brought you, being grateful that in this moment, we're able to connect and have class. And you can do something that feels really amazing for your higher self. Now, because the Arcturians are master teachers and healers, they're very, very integral in the building, the civilization, the higher consciousness of Atlantis. And as I said, this is my personal connection to them. This is how I met Star Nations, is through the energy of Atlantis, because we're talking about a 5th vibrational frequency, which is much easier for the galactics to communicate with us. So we're going to come to the Atlantean Egypt once again, which is known as Kem. And we're going to take ourselves back, if you want. Kem is about 12,000 years ago, 10,000 BC, right in that area. And at that time, it's known that we are not alone in the universe. It's known that every constellation has a story, has a star nation, has some type of influence for us. And while the Arcturians would never force themselves on us. Because they're master teachers, they present things to us with the option of what we want to do. And so as we go along in today's meditation, it's up to you how deep you want the healing to go, what you need healed, what you want to know more about. And as I mentioned probably last week, is that you take everything how it comes. If you don't feel comfortable in certain parts, be with the guides that you already love and adore. If someone challenges you to go a different route than when I take you and it feels right to you, then follow it. This is just what I'm guided to do. But as I said, what happens a lot of times in meditations is right before I say something, people are already there. You're already feeling it. You have a sense of who I'm calling in or who has shown up, because we are all, of course, connected through spirit. And it's, we're so fortunate that we really aren't alone. So in Egypt right now, in Chem, you call forward any guides that you want to be with you right now for protection, for love, ones that you know are really encouraging and supportive about you trying different things. And as you're walking, you want to connect to Gaia. It's really important that we always remember our humanity, what makes us human, and why we've chosen to incarnate this time round on this particular planet. With your guides with you, in connection to your higher self, Holy Spirit, in gratitude to everything that brought you here to this culmination point today, placing your hands on your heart and just coming into sync with your own frequency. What does your heart feel like today? What does your Holy Spirit feel like today? Get a sense of your chakra system, whether you want to talk about 7, 12, 20. Just a nice visual scan of anything that feels expanded or shrunken. And begin to encourage your energetic body to express itself in a balanced and whole way. If you tune into your auric field, perhaps you notice maybe it feels heavy or clouded, and use the light of your own being to help clear. So 3 times we're going to repeat, I am the light within and light surrounds me. And as you do that, feel this beautiful white orb go all around you. Your light is your own shield and protector. It's also how you express. Now, using what's known as the heart breath, is now you're going to pull up the energies from Gaia with her love, with her nurturing into your heart space. And then you hold them there for as long as it feels right for you. And you let that ruby red ray of Gaia mix and mingle with the love of your being. When you're ready, you're going to exhale and feed the love into your body, down your legs and back to Gaia. So it's very reciprocal. You're going to do that 2 more times at your own pace, breathing in, connecting to your heart, letting it dance and mingle with your energies, and then releasing whenever that feels right. One more time, breathing in, just enjoying this part of the meditation that's just for you to connect to your body, your higher self, mix and mingling. And when you release from the heart, really feeding your body the nutrients, the love, the support, the guidance from Gaia. From there, we can make a clockwise or a counterclockwise circle around our crown 3 times, opening your crown to the cosmos. See that connection of your crown through your causal chakra, your soul star, and your stellar gateway. All of them in alignment to open you up to the heavens. Inviting in the blue ray of the universe, the blue ray of the Arcturians, to now come in, to come down as you breathe in. And as it passes in your physical body, feeling that coolness, that connection, maybe there's even a tingle as it reaches your heart. And now really fully understanding how loved you are in the cosmos by Creator, by the Archangels and Angels, by the Galactics. When you can feel that stillness, that life force, that prana, breathe it out, feeding your body. And again, breathing in and down. The blue ray descending from the heavens, filling your body with beautiful blue light, connecting to your heart space. Releasing and nurturing your body. One more time at your own pace. Breathing in the light. Releasing. And from there, our next task is to combine it. So as we know, red and blue make purple or violet. And so when we bring in these colors now into our heart space, it becomes a violet breath. So you bring it in. You allow them to dance with your own golden light, rays of blue, rays of red, support from Gaia, support from Creator. And as it builds into this beautiful breath within you, if you can, you squeeze your dantian or your sex organs, your root block, and you take the tip of your tongue and you put it at the roof of your mouth. And then when you're ready to release your breath, it's like a blessing for you. So you release and you allow that violet breath to make a cloud around you. It can be for connection, for healing, for protection, for higher consciousness. Violet has all the things that we know about amethyst and that our own crown chakra can do. 2 more times again at your own pace, breathing up from the earth and down from the cosmos. And holding and releasing whenever it feels right. One last time. Breathing, bringing in love, support, guidance, trust. And when you're ready to release the violet flame, the violet breath, send a blessing to our world, or perhaps to those that you know are struggling the most right now. And then just notice how you're feeling. Now, as you continue to walk on the ancient lands of Egypt and Kem. Imagine that you can see Arcturus in the sky, a big red supergiant star. And feeling a light or a beam be activated from that star into your third eye. This is the way your personal Arcturian guide is going to come to you through this connection of your own divine being and the energies of Arcturus. And now, as you perhaps sense him or her, get a feeling for their energy. If you feel ready, ask what their name is. And what are they here to help you with the most? Why have they come today? And also perhaps make a decision. Haven't been aware of this guide before, just haven't properly placed him or her. You can double check by asking that you only allow guides and beings in of the highest white light. You can ask them to confirm, are you of the highest vibration and the highest white light that I can trust you? And you can also call on one of your trusted guides to just do a check on them, a scan. If it's a yes, you're all good. If you feel unsure, keep your protectors with you. If it's a no, if there's a different being that has made its way through, send it back and make a little bit more clear stance. We are connected to Arcturus right now. In my truest of hearts, I feel like all Arcturians are amazing, beautiful guides. So I hope you're feeling safe. Now, a little heads up. Our journey today obviously starts in Kem. From there, we're going to go to the starship Athena, which is named after the Greek goddess and Atlantean Athena. So that means it's about wisdom and healing and strategic planning in war. It is not a warship, but it has been protecting Earth from malevolent extraterrestrials for a very, very long time. And so many channelers of the Arcturians will reference the starship Athena because it continually comes up, as does the Arcturian Giuliano. In all books I've read about Arcturus, Giuliano comes through, which makes me think he is the Arcturian ambassador for Earth. So Giuliano might come forward for you now, perhaps. But from the starship Athena, after we do some wonderful healing there with some Arcturian masters, we'll be going through the Arcturian Stargate, and we will be going to Arcturus I, where we'll work together at the Temple of Tomar to bring in great clarity, understanding, and activations for you. So our personal gateway on our planet is the Sphinx, the Egyptian and the Atlantean Sphinx. As we can remember, they create a portal in between them. One faces east, one faces west, and therefore they face each other, even though the Atlantean one is currently at the bottom of the ocean. So with your guide or guides, you're going to step in to that stargate. And we're just going to do the process of shimmering right now. And shimmering, as I may have mentioned, is what we've seen in Star Trek universe the whole time. It's your body becoming dematerialized into light specks so that it can rematerialize where it needs to go. And so it's the shimmering can very much feel like a tingling. It usually starts at your heart and your chest and expands out into your limbs, your torso, your head, etc. So freeing yourself from any negative ego speak and bringing yourself to the beautiful starship Athena. And very most likely they probably have some type of transport room where you're all there together right now with myself, with our guides. And just tune in to the vibration and the frequency of this beautiful flagship carrying the energy of Goddess Athena. And what the intuitive hit I get as well is that Athena herself is originally an Arcturian. And that's why she was so integral in first Atlantis and then eventually through Egypt and Greece. Now, as we leave that room and we walk the halls, what you may notice about the starship Athena is that's not just limited to Arcturians. There's beings from all over the galaxy because the Arcturians are one of the original members of the Galactic Federation of Light. And so they train with, they integrate, they help many across the galaxy with a lot of other star nations. So as you're walking the halls towards where we're going, which is a holographic chamber, you're just going to feel yourself in a community as we are online now, but now expanded community of beings that are rooting for us, that are supporting us, that are doing as much as they can without impeding on our free will to help us achieve this giant step towards new Earth. From here, your personal guide is going to bring you into a healing room, each of you. And there's a bed or a table, most likely made out of crystal, that has this own breath to it. The light in it fluxes very much like a heartbeat. Open, close, open, close, just vibrating in this beautiful frequency that's for you. If you want, make note of what you think this crystal bed is, what type of crystal, what type of light you're seeing or feeling, or you're just knowing. And this is a part similar to last week where it's just about scanning you. So you're going to lay down, and I'm going to invite in some master teachers of the Arcturians that I'm familiar with. So for comfort and love first, I call upon Yeshua and Mary Magdalene, representing the divine feminine and divine masculine in perfect harmony and union. And when they come and grab one of your hands each. Perhaps as it is on your right side is Yeshua for the male, on your left side is Mary Magdalene for the female, feminine aspect of you. And even on the bed right now, close your eyes and just feel that love and that integration from their divine beings into yours. Understand that any judgments you have made upon yourself, you will never face judgment from these two powerful, beautiful beings and teachers. From here, I invite in Master Mikhail Usui, the Reiki lineage holder for Earth, and he's going to come to your feet. His energy very often is very grandfatherly. It's very kind and soft. His smile is big, his eyes crinkle a lot. And he's just here to help you. So almost in a way, because he's at your feet, he's working in a more reflexology aspect, touching different parts to see how your organs are, where you're in alignment with energy, where certain things feel inflamed. And just from him touching you, areas can begin to alleviate any swelling, any irritation, any inflammation. And at the head, I call in Sanat Kumara. Sanat Kumara, as I said, very integrated with Master Usui and Jesus, but also with Archangel Michael. And we can bring Archangel Michael in the room as well, just to keep us feeling secure and comforted and ready. When Sanat Kumara touches your head, he brings in the words that we might be familiar with through Karuna Reiki. I'm going to tone them in 7 times initially, and then I just bring in a sequence of 3 words that I go over 3 times. A reminder for my own ego that toning is not singing. The vibration that comes from my being and from my throat will be the one that's meant to come through. So when I bring these symbols in, you just notice how you feel, if there's any shifts within you. Zona. 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 Noticing the frequency. That is initially what brings in the healing. So with these 4 Grand Masters of Reiki, Grand Teachers or Master Teachers of the Arcturian ways of healing and being, notice what's happening within your body. White or blue rays shooting through you. Any organs that need attention are, any bones, any muscles, and all parts of your body, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, are being touched in some facet right now. As I bring in the next sequence of words, the zonar once again is for healing and healing on all levels. The halu is for deep, deep healing of past lives, of childhood, of any type of trauma that has produced something like a PTSD within us, any kind of triggers, and it also heals addictions. And the halu is about healing your heart, finding compassion for yourself and others, finding forgiveness, learning patience. So together they're a very powerful trio. And I'm going to tone them together 3 times. Zonar, halu, ha. Zona Helu Pars Zona Helu Pars. Noticing how you're feeling with the masters with you, the words, and the vibrations within you. And just allowing for any final adjustments, attunements, downloads from these four masters to be with you. Taking some deep breaths and releasing. And giving your thanks to each of these Grand Masters of Reiki. You're going to lift yourself off the bed. If there's any gifts those guides want to give you, if it's a gift of a message, of encouragement, of light, allow yourself to receive it now. And through the door, we're going to notice another Arcturian. Her name is Helioa. Helioa is the Arcturian that looks after the holographic chambers, or as they say, the heliographic chambers. And she reminds us that holographic means the part that gives you access to the whole. So we're going to leave this particular healing room, and maybe adjacent to it, and another door is the holographic chamber. Now, the holographic chamber is used to heal both the past, the present, and the future. And it's a really interesting way to calm your fears or any anxieties about the future. So very much it resembles an old-fashioned phone booth. It's about that size, very vertical, stands up. And in the booth, the computer sits to the right in the front. And you have a screen above the table where the computer is. So it's like you have your own personal chamber there. There is a big dial right in front. And now once the computer is turned on because of your presence, it knows it's there, you can see that this dial is like a clock. It goes from 12 to 3 to 6 to 9 and back to 12, looking exactly like a clock. And you can imagine all the numbers from 1 to 12 on it. Now, when we turn the dial to the right, which we will a little bit later, that represents our future. 12 o'clock is our present. And then going to the left is our past. So perhaps for your first visit today, we can just keep our focus on this lifetime. But later on when you're reviewing, you can take that dial And you could take it back to many, many previous lifetimes for more clarity. Because it can go on like a turbo mode. It can take you back to the inception of your soul, should you wish. But for today, we are going to think about something in our past. It can be our childhood, it can be when we were teenagers, young adults, it can be yesterday. But something that you wish to change the energy around. So because it's in the past, we can't actually change the situation, but we can change how we react to it, how we feel about it, what happens when we think about it. If there's a trigger and it brings us back to that exact time, which for any woman that's been sexually assaulted, whenever that memory comes up, it can be very hard to live through it again. But what we're going to do with this past healing is we're just going to change you from being in it to being the observer and to understanding the fuller picture. A lot of times in our childhood, we might have traumatic moments with our parents, our grandparents, our aunts, or uncles. And when we zoom out a little bit, it helps us understand that for the most part, people are just doing what they know and doing the best they can. Very similar to what's happening in society right now. It all depends on your ancestral framework, who the lineage breaker is, which many times is going to be you. So just going through with an open mind and an open heart. So anything, if you press it to 11 o'clock, that's going to be about the last decade. 10 o'clock, 2 decades before that, you get the idea. 9 o'clock, 3 decades. So you take that dial right now and decide where you're putting it. So we're going to change the negative images from the past and make them into positive images or positive feelings, so that we no longer have to keep being triggered by our trauma. So because everything is stored in our brain as an image, you begin to bring that event in particular back to your consciousness. And one of the key ways to do this is through smell and through sound. So whether you're outdoors or in, using those 2 senses first to ground you into that space. And then perhaps recognizing what age you were at this time and who is with you during this significant event that you would like to heal and repair today. As you visualize the memory using the image you have of this event, you can now zoom out and see what perhaps was happening with the other person prior to this event, or the other energy. I guess it doesn't always have to be a person. Maybe it's an animal and maybe it's a car accident. But just zoom out so that you can see it in a fuller capacity. And you can even look at the opposing energy and have a feeling for what that person or thing's life was, their life path, where they had challenges and not. But we're just going to begin to reshape the image in a more positive way, or the experience. Because of what happened in the past, how did it change you, transform you, make you grow? How did it lead to the person you are now? Nothing happens by accident, and your soul arranged for this particular circumstance to take place. Why did it do that? Do you need help? Do you want to span out again and use your Arcturian guide to help you see the fuller picture? But as you come to realize that it really helped shape you, it's like an old Rolodex or a floppy disk. You can pull it out. You can insert a new one in the exact same place. But now it changes the frequency of the memory, of the emotions. So just bring healing from your heart into this whole situation. If you know the whole Ho'oponopono, you're welcome to use it. If there's another method that you like, you can. The Hawaiian / Lemurian and Palladian forgiveness technique is simply to say, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. Thank you. Remembering that forgiveness is not about who was right or wrong. Forgiveness is alleviating the guilt, the anger, the frustration, the burden from your heart, from your shoulders, from your neck, from your back, because you know it's no longer yours to carry. Forgiveness is love. And if that person you have to forgive is yourself because of something you did, then give yourself even more compassion, because where you are now, you know better. Take some breaths in. Feel the shift within this memory. Helios stands outside of the chambers, bringing in love and light and support from the Arcturians. And again, breathing in. Now, as this shift goes through, we're going to feel the emotions and the facial expressions shift within this memory, the emotions of yourself and the others in this situation. You can actually see your face relax, tension from your forehead melt away from your mouth, from your eyes. You might even be able to see the change in the auric field of the others with you as you're reprogramming this memory. If it feels right to call in any archangels or Jesus or Mary Magdalene to this scene to help with additional healing, Archangel Raphael, please feel free to. You take it as high and as light as you would like to. But know that as you're doing this, you're reprogramming your brain. It's being downloaded into you now. When the image is put back into your subconscious, just like that floppy disk, you have now created a new reality. So taking a breath, integrate. Now, we're going to be back in the chamber. Seeing the dial has went back to 12 o'clock. If it feels like you feel a little bit woozy, then maybe just stomp your feet a bit. Remember that there is a part of you, a big part of you that's on Earth. This is just a part of our etheric being, our body that's doing the traveling right now. So now with the dial, we can go again in increments of 10 years. So 1 is 10 years from now, 2 is 20 years from now, 3 is 30 years from now. If you have any anxiety about what's happening now, choose what will bring you the most peace. Maybe you want to just do between half of 12 and half of 1, so you're kind of at 5 years from now. But be assured that our future is bright and that we have a reason to be excited about it. As you take it forward, see where you are and notice, number one, the energy of this future. What cues are you getting from Gaia if you're on Gaia? What is the energy of the people in the space? Maybe you're outdoors at a park and you're seeing children playing or laughing. What kind of technologies are there? How are people dressed? What does the frequency of their heart feel like? Just enjoy exploring this space. And maybe you also notice who is with you. Maybe you're with a spouse, a friend, child. But this helps. This exercise helps to implant more positive imagery about our future into all the people of the planet. So in a way, it is a planetary healing that we're doing as a small group right now. Helua continues to offer her support with blue light from outside the chamber to help you see, feel, or know more clearly, to hear. And she speaks that to really solidify the image, can you almost saturate the color and the light? Can you use the brightest colors that you can to get this image to anchor within you, so that as we go forward over the coming years, should you feel stressed or anxious about what's unfolding in our world, you can remember that the future is secure and beautiful and safe. She says in the chamber, there's a large green button, which is known as the save button. And that as you push it, any memories from both your past and your future you want to save and store will now be done so. Downloading to the computer, it's updating all future events and files based on what needs to be updated on your vision. It happens very quickly because our computers are even more advanced than the ones we have on Earth. You will feel a lightening up of your own energy field, and the process has been completed. The dial turns back to 12 o'clock. You shut the computer off, you open the door, and you come back out into a large room where Helioa and your personal Arcturian guide is waiting for you. So checking in with yourself, how you feel from the healing with the Grand Masters of Reiki, and how you feel coming from the past and through the future in the holographic chambers. Taking a breath, releasing. We are going to stay on the starship Athena. It's going to take us to Arcturus I. And it begins to leave Earth's orbit and it makes its way towards our sun. And I'm getting to understand that many stars and suns are themselves portals and gateways to other dimensions, other galaxies. And our sun is no different. And so you're going to get an intense amount of golden, yellow, maybe a little bit of orange light as we near closer and closer to the sun. Trust that the pilot and the crew know what they're doing. And you might even feel an extension of yourself, like you're getting pulled through something where time isn't quite as synchronous as it usually is. Images can look delayed. You could feel like certain things are in slow motion. If there's a port or a window to look out of, you will see stars racing by as we get into this galactic portal that's going to lead us to Arcturus I. Trusting all that is about to come through. We're going to come to Arcturus I in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The ship stops. We can now have a clear view of the Arcturian star, the red supergiant I was talking about. And from here, with your guide, your personal Arcturian guide, and any of your other guides you want to keep with you, we are once again going to do the process of shimmering to bring ourselves down onto the Terra. So feeling the light spread within your heart, your shoulders, up to your neck, through your arms, your hips, your legs, your head, and your feet. We find ourselves materializing on Arcturus I. It is said that the planet itself is very blue-green, and the sun from this planet looks like it has more of a yellow-green tinge to it. There are 3 moons in the sky, and so there is never really darkness. It's either the sun is there or one of the moons are reflecting and shining beautiful light upon the planet Arcturus I. From here, you can see the Pleiades, and understanding that the Pleiadians and the Arcturians are wonderful friends. They're wonderful allies to Earth, and very often they work together for humanity to bring us closer to our rainbow light bodies. The planet Arcturus I is very mountainous. And the temple that we're going to, the temple of Tomar, is on a mountain. And so it's a sacred pilgrimage that many beings, not just humans, but beings from all over the galaxy, come to this particular temple for healing, for cleansing, for integration. Some is like a spiritual sabbatical, or somewhere where you go for healing for a length of time. And the last time I was at Lake Louise, the Arcturians reminded me, as did Archangel Michael, that Lake Louise in near Banff, Lake Louise, Alberta, is in itself a galactic healing center. That if you open your third eye and you look up at the mountains, you will see thousands upon thousands of extraterrestrials of all kinds coming to that spot, that vortex, that energy that's anchored by Archangel Michael for ultimate healing. So if they're in our solar system and they want healing, they come to that sacred spot. And also when I was there last time, I had a great understanding of how that beautiful water, that aquamarine water, is built that way to remind us of the magic and the love of Atlantis and Lemuria. So there's a strong connection within planetary vibes. There's a strong connection within cosmos. So the Temple of Tomar and the Crystal Lake of Tomar is very similar to those areas. So we're going to begin our pilgrimage up the mountain. You can chat with your guide. Maybe there's other beings that you feel fascinated by that you want to introduce yourself to. But it's a hike. It's good for your heart. It's good for your spirit. And it's a good time to remind yourself that you are multidimensional. And that's why you can be physically on Earth in the room that you're in, that we can go to Chem and be a facet, leave a facet of us there, that we can be on the starship Athena and yet also be on Arcturus I, in addition to wherever else we might be. So as you're walking, have a sense or a feeling that Archangel Metatron is above you, radiating a beautiful white ray for you to connect, to really open your mind and expand it for what you're about to experience in the Temple of Tomar. This is his message as it comes through. This is Archangel Metatron. It is my purpose to guide you to your higher soul assignment in the realms that are awaiting you. Because time is not linear, you are ready. You are already experiencing part of your awareness from this new assignment. You are multidimensional. You are simultaneously moving your consciousness in many different places. You exist in many, many realms. I will work with you to unlock the codes, as certain codes control access to your past lives so that you are not flooded with memories that are too difficult, painful, or confusing. There are also codes that block your awareness to consciousness in other realms. These codes can be temporarily broken and lifted so that you can move your thoughts into the Stargate. And I will go through several incantations and then offer you tonal instructions. We begin first with Kadosh, 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 Adonai, Sevat. Kadosh, 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 Adonai, Sevat. Kadosh, 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 Adonai, Sevat. This is Hebrew for holy, holy, holy is the land, or is the Lord of hosts. These words unlock the first codes. We now go to the second level. Hebrew for I am that I am. Aheyi, Asha. Aheyi. Aheyi, Asher. Aheyi. Aheyi, Asher. Aheyi. May the codes that are locked be unlocked. May your consciousness be open to all soul assignments as you enter in thought the pre-chamber of the Arcturian Stargate. This is Archangel Metatron. Taking some breaths. Maybe moving your body a little bit to integrate the unlocking of those codes. And we're beginning to start to see a temple of Tomar on top of the mountain. There is a vision of spiritual beauty within this temple. The magnificent temple is built around and on top of a very large lake. The outer temple appears as a giant hexagonal structure with a triangular point on the top. And in the lake is a massive crystal that we will also connect with. This crystal is a powerful doorway with galactic consciousness, higher dimensions, and past life memories. Coming to greet you is Tomar, the keeper of the temple. Him, and along with your guide, would like to take you into the Arcturian Crystal Temple. It is important for you to come up in your consciousness to one of the healing chambers so that you can experience the full frequencies. So as you continue to approach the temple, feel parts of yourself lifting and expanding. You might notice the doors of this crystal temple. You might be noticing others around you, including the ones from our group or other beautiful beings. But in a very real way, you are spinning and floating in beautiful blue light. To access the temple, we must actually float. And so you float up and up and up, spinning to get to the next level of the Arcturian Crystal Temple. You come into a huge domed place on Arcturus, which is specifically for healing. They call it the Crystal Healing Chamber. And as you sit on the edge of this wonderful place, you see a huge crystal in the deep, deep water. This crystal has been manifested by the Arcturians for special healing powers. Tomar asks you to put both of your hands palms up, facing toward the center of the room. You are now in 3 places at the same time: your physical form on Earth, the healing chamber of the starship Athena, and you are also in the Arcturian Crystal Temple. The Arcturians make sure that they are able to maintain this by caring for each of your bodies in these forms. Inside the temple, you're all sitting together, beings from across many light years, beings from all over Earth, all over our solar system, and from our galaxy. You sit there looking at the lake, and you can see beams coming from that crystal that is in the lake. Very powerful, so powerful that you can't quite stare at the crystal itself. It'd be like staring at our own sun. They say the crystal is approximately 1/4 mile in diameter and emits a powerful, powerful light. The water then acts to almost diminish the energy so people can actually assimilate it and use it. Again, we don't want to look directly at the crystal, but we can look in the waters, we can look in the sky, we can look in the general vicinity and absorb the energies. There is much chanting and singing in languages that you perhaps don't understand, but you can feel the vibration within your heart. Should you wish to voice something, to chant along with what you're hearing, please do, and notice what shifts within you. Several beings in white robes are with us, and other galactic beings are present who have come through this crystal energy. The crystal is connected to the Arcturian Stargate in a very interesting way, and light beings from higher dimensions frequently come through the crystal. There is a powerful love emanating from this crystal, and that love is connected to the intergalactic force known as the Andromedan Council. The Andromedan Council focuses a love energy for the emerging consciousness that we, the Arcturians, are working with. They send this love force to all who are meditating on the powerful crystal. They know it as a love that they send through the crystal has the most healing for all on planet Earth. And now you are receiving this love force from the Andromedans, from the crystal, from the Arcturians. Giuliano, the Arcturian that I said is most often channeled, says he would like to connect a mini corridor or a strand of light from you to a fifth dimensional opening in the crystal temple of Tomar. This connection will remain steady and connected for 24 hours each day. You will always have access to your fifth dimensional perspective and a fifth dimensional connection in all of your activities, should you wish to create this connection. To possess this gift of light will enable you to become a much more powerful light worker in your present incarnation on Earth. And when you attain this, you will detach more and more and more from third dimensional activities. You'll be able to see clearly the difference between the fifth dimensional perspective and that one that is rooted in a third dimensional one. You'll begin to understand that everything is energy, and you will be able to see more and more with a higher perspective. Anything that you do, teaching, working, counseling, interacting with your children, your spouse, your friends, will be affected by this new fifth dimensional perspective. Every interaction will now carry this thread and allow you the opportunity to transmit that thread to other people. You will become a powerful light, and people will be attracted to you wherever you go. Giuliano now wants to transmit frequencies to you that will break the crystalline blocks around your aura so that you can receive more fifth dimensional light. The more you open, the more benefit you will have from Arcturian light technology. This can help you in areas such as personal healing, unlocking your codes, transforming yourself into a fifth dimensional spaces, and your permanent ascension into the higher realms. It is our mission to assist you in ascending to the fifth dimensional realm. Our technology is very suited to this work. I am Giuliano, and we are the Arcturians, and we feel blessed to do this work with you today. So just integrating these threads of higher consciousness between you and the crystal, feeling, visualize, or seeing how these threads will impact your thinking, your speaking, your movement, and all you interact with. Taking a breath in, releasing. This is Tomar. You are my guests at the Crystal Temple. You have permission to participate in this marvelous crystalline energy. Gaze at the water with me now and see the powerful ripples of energy coming from the crystal. They activate your telepathic powers, your third eye, and your crown chakra. You may feel the vibration as I'm speaking, as a huge energy fusion comes through you. Look deeper into the water. You may see a city on Arcturus called Arcturus I. As you gaze into the crystal, you will notice that people are within the lake. You may also look into the crystal and see a great leader, a spiritual presence, a high being in the galactic hierarchy who comes from the gardens of the central sun. We receive thoughts from this energy. Go into the part of that brain that can infuse you with light, even if you don't understand the codes. You don't feel like you're seeing what you want. Allow yourself to surrender, to release, and just to accept the codes that the crystal and the waters have for you. Tap your pineal gland, letting it know you are ready to be infused with a higher vibrational light than ever before, the light of the great central sun. As you go forward in your work, know that this corridor between you and the crystal exists forever. And it's a great way for you to gain energy infusions and to activate the corridors within you. To keep this connection, you must remember your personal guardian or counterpart on Arcturus. They are your guide each time you enter the ship or the planet or the stargate. And the more you interact with them, the more personal missions you will get about your life mission. As you continue to absorb the light from the great crystal, know that you're receiving downloads to help you be more mentally clear as the days progress. I, Tomar, of the Arcturians, are going to activate your mental clarity now, offering you an increased ray of violet and blue coming from the temple crystal to fill you with deeper mental clarity that will last for several weeks. I have one more task to do with you at this time. And I don't want you to think about how it's possible. I just want you to trust. I am going to float above the crystal and I take all of your hands. Each of you holds my hand on either the left side or the right side. And together we are going to descend together into the crystal. We float down deep and deeper into the crystal, almost like we're going half a mile down. You're still holding my hand and we're still floating. You arrive in a special fifth dimensional palace that is the center of this crystal. And I'm putting you here so that you can absorb harmonious etheric energy. I want you to plant your consciousness here in this golden palace of light deep inside the crystal. As I make way for one of my Arcturian brothers to speak. Greetings, I am Tiran. I am one of the spiritual masters of the Arcturian realm. This golden palace is filled with beautiful spiritual light, warmth, everlasting etheric beauty and intensity. It is up to you to connect to it. We want more earth beings to experience the Arcturian frequency. Know that you are the forerunners of this grand experience. The more you experience our spiritual light, the more you will bring it and broadcast it when you return to earth. You will increase the vibration of all around you. and you will keep this frequency with you. As Giuliano and Tomar have said, there is every reason to celebrate, for you now have a permanent strand with you. Because of this connection, I am sending a strong blue tubular light into each of you. We are pleased you are able to receive it and at a vibration to accept it. Know that within this crystal, you are also charging. You are here to recharge because you are becoming an ascended master. As ascended masters, you will transmit and deliver light throughout your daily interactions on Earth. This is Tiran, and we are the Arcturians. Tomar has never let your hands go, and he's now ready to help you return to the top of the crystal. You can take a moment to meditate with him as you hold his hand, and you go back, floating to the top of the crystal, higher and higher, higher and higher. It takes a long time to get to the top. But once there, floating above it, Tomar sends you back into the healing chamber, where you can now ground and cement the strand of light so it permanently fixes to your earth body. Meditate on the strand that is connected to you and connect with your crown chakra. While there is much work we would love to do with you, we recognize that is more than enough for today. The new light source you are connected to and emitting is one that is going to help you grow for many moons going forward. From where you are in the Temple of Tomar, can you send words of love to yourself on the physical plane? Whatever words of encouragement that you need. You are enough. You are loved. You are powerful. You are abundant. Whatever it is, allow your physical body on earth to receive the love from your higher self in this dimension. Taking a deep breath in. Release. It is now time to descend from the crystal temple back down the mountain with your personal Arcturian guide. In gratitude to Tomar, to Tiran, to Archangel Metatron, and to any guides I might have missed, we have a bow and we give gratitude. As you're walking, I'm going to invite in the dragons. Didn't have as much time to spend with the dragons today, but as you're walking, I'm going to read a little bit. The orange gold dragons from Arcturus. As we know, Arcturians themselves are highly evolved, and their dragons are no different. They almost form a group consciousness in that they're all connected, but yet they still remain as individuals. But there is a oneness they invoke, that they inspire, that we also want to bring through our hearts as we return to Earth. Because the Arcturians are known throughout the universe as some of the greatest healers, During our journey today, they have healed our chakras, our meridian lines, our energy bodies, and even upgraded our DNA. The more time we give ourselves to spend with the Arcturians, the more upgrades to our light body we can expect. As the dragons fly above you and clear anything remaining in your auric field that doesn't belong, they remind you that you are becoming a walking master, an ascended master, helping to bring the new golden age on Earth. Right now, armies of dragons from Arcturus are flowing together and around planet Earth, stimulating great evolutionary change. You have chosen or volunteered, you have been chosen or volunteered to be here among the most important 20-year period there has ever been in the history of this planet. From 2012 to 2032, we experienced the most momentous change, transformation, shifts that Gaia has ever gone through. And you are supported by the dragons, by the Arcturians, by the Galactic Federation of Light. The more you step into the role, the more Arcturian beings and their dragons are with you. So as it continues to fly above you, it fills you with infinite love, blowing an orange gold light through you and over you. You may even feel yourself fizzing as this light pours over you. He asks you, or she, if they can return you to Earth instead of the starship Athena. And presumably our answer is yes. If you would like to go to the starship Athena, use the process of shimmering once again. But if it's a yes, you climb upon the back of this beautiful orange gold dragon. You are now moving faster than the speed of light through many dimensions, and you see a vast orange gold portal ahead. As you take a deep breath, you go through the shimmering gates into this portal, back to Earth, through the sun, heading back towards our solar system. You might have memories remaining of all the different beings and all their shapes and sizes that you saw on Arcturus, and a fond memory of the healing chambers you were part of. In gratitude to Giuliano and Helioa and all the Arcturians that you met. Your personal guide is going to help you come back into Egypt, into Chem with the dragon. He or she continues to manipulate a little bit of energy inside and around your body so that you can fully acclimate back to Earth. And even though it was brief, we thank our dragon for its visit and know that you can continue to develop a relationship with him or her as you see fit. Finding yourself back on Earth between the gateway that is the sphinxes of this planet. 7 times I say the words to ground. Rama, 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 Kriya. Taking a deep breath in. Bring yourself fully into this earth body on Earth. So our journey was long today, and I'm just going to give you some time to process, a few minutes, and then we'll just come back for some brief shares of your experience. So maybe just deciding what highlighted for you, if you are able to stay awake, how you're feeling now, and maybe what your favorite part of today's journey is. Yes, sorry, I can spend a lot of time with the Arcturians. I feel like ideally I would have liked another 20 minutes, but time is as it is. So I'll just wait for a few to come, but hopefully we're able to stay awake or make great music. I don't know. Let's see what happens. Man, you were kind of first on my screen. What was your impressions for today?
Wow, that was something for me. Definitely a deep connection to the Arcturians. I did it a little bit differently tonight. I actually took notes because I'm a bit of a note taker, and came in and out, and I had a way deeper experience. So a
That's
good
the
thing
way I
for me to
experience
note.
it. Mhm.
Yeah. And I didn't, feel tired or anything. I had a guide come that was blue with big eyes, looking like the ET kind of guy. And it took me a while to get his name, but he gave me the name Iota.
Mm.
Really had a neat experience with Mary Magdalene and Yeshua. When Sanat Kumara was like at the crown, and there was somebody else at the feet, and they were both at the side. And the theme throughout this was running of current, like an electric current was running through me.
Nice.
And it was like coming to the heart in a big blue, and it was blue, a bluish white. And then it moved up into my head. And what happened when it was in the head, it was like my head started moving counterclockwise, and then it went clockwise. It was really quite something.
And you have like a strong connection to Mary Magdalene with the work that you were doing
Yes.
with Melissa, I feel like. Yes. So
Yeah.
familiar energy.
And I got a key from Mary Magdalene, or sorry, a red rose. And then Yeshua gave me a key, which is, he's one of my guides. So a key is sort of a symbol I always get with him. And then I got really vivid stuff. And then Sanat gave me a blessing. I knelt before him, which was the same thing that happened with my guide at the end.
Beautiful.
They gave me this blessing. And then the interesting one last thing, I know I have so much I'm saying.
Oh, no, please. I don't like to limit it. I want to be conscious of time, but whatever you feel like sharing is okay with me.
When we went to that experience, when we went back in time, I went back to when I was 14, and there was an experience of shame, and shame is what I'm here to clear in my lineage of women. And so it was really profound for me.
Good.
And bringing in green healing light to the situation. And yeah, I loved tonight. I really felt.
Before you started speaking, I'm like, man, she's going to be very Arcturian, right? Like, I know that I'm Syrian. I know it, but out of all the ones I've studied, I'm Arcturian. Like, even when you read the things, I'm like, yep, like very opinionated. I'm like, yep. Oh, healer, yep. But it's really nice when we connect to our nature, like our home, because the vibe is there, right? And the Arcturians to me they're powerful, but they're funny. I think they're fun. Maybe it's because I have that sarcastic, so they're very similar. So versus like, I know the Syrians is a nice journey, both of them, but do you feel like there's just a deeper connection with the Arcturians?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And Kate's Arcturian as well. And we've had many lives together, Kate King. So like,
that's not surprising.
it makes sense. Yeah. But it's
I love
new.
how our souls do that. Like, okay, let's come and make this little triangle down here. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, thank you.
Thank you. What about I want to ask the Temple of Tomar, it felt very dizzying to me today. A lot of times it does anyways, but I was like, wow, they're really like, they kind of had that energy the whole time. Did it feel similar to you? Yeah.
Me? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Lots of running current throughout the whole thing, of like running bolts of current through my body. throughout the whole journey.
Well, once we got to the Temple of Tomar, right, and it's still happening for me right now, I just have this band of frequency that's like this, and then it's like expanding, but then it's bringing it down. And the last time I did this journey was in October. I think Christine was there. I want to say we did it in a big circle. And I remember then I was like, I gotta reread this book, because there's things that, like, I read it in 2018, and then I would have like just gone back and done some notes. But to read it from start to finish now, with the level of vibration that we've all come into, I think would be extraordinary. Like, there's things today, it's like, oh, I forgot about that part. Oh my God, it'd be so good. I don't have time. I'm like, So it's on my, I'm reading Tot and Isis right now, the alchemy of them, or the union of them, but it's gotta make my way in here. Anyways, thank you very much. Let's come to Christine, because I do feel like you're at the circle in October, so I'm not sure how much crossed over, or if it felt similar, or if you don't remember that one.
I'm not remembering it. I'm not connecting it.
Perfect. But it's brand new.
It was it was different. I don't know, I was a little bit in and out of it. I loved when Master Yusui and Sanat Kumar were at my head and my feet. I felt such an envelopment of just energy and pressure, and it was so equal. It's really weird. Like, my body just, it's like it tenses up, but I'm not doing it. Like, I'm not activating or engaging anything, but the energy is just really palpable. But I'm not really, I'm not seeing really the images. I didn't have any actual beings, I don't think, that came to me, but it was really, really nice. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
I know we talk about it all the time, but I remember being the same way in the beginning of my spiritual journeys. And I'm not sure how I could even handle a long journey like that in the beginning. So I always give you props, because, at least once a month you're engaging in these kind of journeys and pulling something from them. And that's all we need in the beginning. Even with my guide, Raphael, I don't see him. Actually, I have no clue. I just understand if he's feeling small that day or taller. And I'm like, cool, Raphael. It's just enough like that. In general, that's why I try to say when I'm doing the meditations, see, know, feel, or sense, because everyone is so different. And I hear the best, and then I have a knowingness, even like I haven't seen Mary Magdalene ever. I've seen Jesus once, but only up to his chin, because of course I can't see his face, but it's interesting. So you're falling asleep in and out, but you feel good, hopefully.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. No, it's a very, I feel, because it is still new for me. I feel like I try a little too hard or something. I want it so badly, and it's like I'm so ready, and I feel like they're coming to me, but I'm just not aware. I'm not sure what I'm looking for yet. Like, it hasn't hit me like, that is like, I feel one day I'm gonna be like, oh yeah, that is exactly what I've been seeing and feeling. And so it's good. That's why I wanted to do this, just to go to these different places and find out which is going to hit me first. And then I'm sure it will all open up and I'll know exactly where I'm coming from.
I got you. It's perfect. Like I said, at the circle in October, a handful of people were like, I saw them, I saw this, I saw that. And even I was like, oh, man, I didn't see any of them, but to each their own. It's all good.
I get the total FOMO. I'm just always so jealous. I'm like, man, oh man, I wanted to go there. But I'm like, maybe I was there, but I'm not clear enough to recognize it or bring it back to me. So it'll come. I'm not worried.
Yeah. Leanna just mentioned about taking notes. And for me, I didn't say it to today's class. I'm sure I might have said it in last class, but that's personally how I do any classes I'm taking with the meditations, because I don't have the kind of brain that will retain it. I'll have all these cool things happen, but if I don't write it down as I'm going along, it gets sucked out at the end. And so I've trained myself to be in meditation, to write, and to be exactly where I am, and it doesn't bug me. Because even like, when I was first reading this book, you're reading it to yourself, but getting the downloads and so you have to like stop, get the light, say the thing, come back, do it again. So it's a wonderful way if you're a note taker. I am very much a note taker, which is why I have like 20 of these in my office right now, all about classes and meditations and that. So thank you for just making that suggestion again, Leanne. Okay, thank you, Christine. How about you, Alex? How was your journey today?
It was amazing. I stayed awake for most of it this time. So I also took notes. So I rewatched the serious one, and I took notes for that. I did that earlier today, and then I did it for tonight. And that's normally how I do it, but I feel like the last couple of months I just really needed rest and healing. So I just rested and slept, I guess.
Right.
But yeah, so my guide was I was a little bit surprised that, I don't know why it surprised me that like a female guide came through, and her name was Lavora. And she said that she was an elder there who had been a teacher of mine there before.
Nice.
And she was coming through now to help me with unlocking to my next level. And I feel that also it's for healing something with like the feminine. And then another guide came through, I guess, because I was like so stuck on her being a female. I don't know why, that was very odd. But then another guide came through who was a male, and his name was Yanu. And he wouldn't even show himself, which is odd for me. I'm very visual.
Yeah.
And who came with me was my Reiki guide, which was also odd because I don't work with him a lot, but he was like, I'm coming. So yeah, then it was cool when we saw Master Usui. Yeah, so the ship was kind of a little bit of a shocking moment for me because I wasn't aware of this ship. And when I first encountered like a lot of this stuff was I came across like a malevolent force in Egypt in my travels, my astral travels, and I asked for help. And a ship came and got me. And it was one of like the most profound experiences in my life, but it healed me and it like shot me back out. But they told me to keep going, and it was like all white, extremely white. And then when I went there today, I was like, is this the same ship? And there was a very strong connection. So I don't know if there's like a sister ship or if it's the same one. But then I was like, well, it doesn't look all white. And I asked them about that, and they were like, well, you weren't meant to see, so we just made everything white. Yeah, so that was all really amazing. Oh, and they were part of the Galactic Federation too, which makes me think it was the same. The chamber was hard for me, but it was also really, 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 really deeply healing. And it was like I've been asking for healing with some of that stuff, so that was good.
Good.
Yeah, and then when we got to the planet, there was like a hawk that came from above Harule, and then that it just told me that was its name, and then I fell asleep, so I didn't get to finish that.
It's it makes me think maybe, I don't know, it depends what kind of mind you have. Maybe you might like this book, right? Like maybe I might like it better now that, again, it's almost 6 years later. It's just very detailed, but it'd be kind of cool to see how much of it matches the vibration of your other one. And my initial thing when you said that, I was like, well, of course it's the Starship Athena, because I picture this Starship Athena just rotating around our orbit like the moon, guiding us, protecting us, and doing exactly that. We'll pull them up, protect them, clear them, boom, shoot them back out, I think every book I've read on the Arcturians has Giuliano and Athena, the starship. So it has that. And I even forgot Giuliano was in this one. I'm like, oh, here he comes, man. So it's really cool. I'm glad. I know that past, like the chambers can be a little bit tricky. I think in class last year when we did the future one, that's when I had a vision of Earth joining the Galactic Federation in the year 2050. So it feels really good to me. It's not about changing this, like, the past, but it's about changing the trauma and the emotions associated with it. So I think I'm going to go in there very soon and just for my 30-year-old self. I'm 42. My 30-year-old self did some stuff that I'm like, why'd you do that? So my dog is a little crazy. Okay. Well, thank you, Alex. How about you, Mandy? What was your experience? Were you busy making some crazy Arcturian tunes for us?
So yeah, I was definitely following along for the first part, and like when we got to like that first healing chamber, that was fantastic for me. I was just like, it was perfect. I like really connected with like the toning you were doing, and it just really drew me in, and it fit like right in with the music I was playing and everything.
Good.
And then as soon as that was over, I like crashed. Like my energy just plummeted. It was like that healing took everything out of me.
Wow.
And like the rest of it, I was like sitting upright, but I was like catching my head and like falling over. So I have the only other thing that really stood out for me was in the Temple of Tomar, was just kind of like feeling this band across my third eye, feeling that. But yeah, otherwise I was very much back in that state of not really aware of what was happening.
But
even though I tried to stay aware.
Yeah. But again, it's all necessary for whatever your experience is. Just to reiterate, because in case anyone fell asleep in that part, but like they attached a thread from our third eye and our crown to the crystal. And that's when it started being like, womb for me. But one of the beautiful things said is that we're going to carry that frequency wherever we go. And so people will normally like be more attracted to you, even more than normal, and I'd have to say that since I've been practicing Starseed stuff, without me speaking about it, more people will bring it up to me. Like, you're a healer. I'm like, yeah, do you ever, it's really weird, but have you ever heard about the Arcturians? I'm like, yes, I have. Let's talk about it. That's a beautiful thing. And I liked that actually they guided from Arcturus, you can see the Pleiades. From Arcturus, they're integrated with the Andromedans. So as we're going along in this series, we're going to see these different beings interact with each other because they are galactic brothers and sisters. They're a community that we are a part of, but just not officially invited yet, Right. Thank you, Mandy. How about you, Dendera? How Arcturian was your experience today?
It was good. I was a little bit in and out of sleeping. Like I was going to sit up and do it, but then I was like, no, I need to lie down. And it really felt like cozy chamber vibes. So I really like that. And I really just felt their touch, just a healing touch, like throughout the whole thing, like meeting my guide at first, then he was like giving me a shoulder massage, and just like throughout the whole thing I just felt like their healing touch. So I thought that was really nice. I'm just seeing my notes if there was anything. No, nothing else really. Like it was just peaceful.
It's perfect. This is for us to close, this is one of the biggest things I take away from it is when I started my Reiki practice after my level 2, I kept getting this Sanat Kumara come in, but I didn't know who it was. I was just like, so I'd be saying my prayers, bring in God, Jesus, Archangel Michael, Archangel Raphael, and it'd be like, and Sanat Kumara. I'm like, and Sanat Kumara, come on in. All right, I don't know who you are, buddy, but let's keep going. So then when I read this book initially, I was just flabbergasted. I was like, oh, that's who he is. And what's funny is the picture I shared with you with my other class, before she had saw this picture, she's like, he really looks like John Travolta with white hair. That's what I saw when I saw him. Christy's like, yes. And then I'm like this. And I showed her the picture. She's like, yes, that's what he looks like. And I'm like, that's what he is. It's so fascinating, but our subconscious is so amazing at drawing these things. And so I've been teaching an Arcturian connection to Reiki since 2018. And now going forward, starting with a Reiki course I have this week and I'm teaching, I'm going to be integrating them much more, getting away a little bit from the way I was taught, which is fine, but starting to integrate these energies. Because to me, it's like, we're not really working with earth energies at this point. We're working with higher dimensions. And so for them to get to know their Arcturian guide is going to be huge in their healings. Anyhow, so I do have a follow-up email probably on Friday. I'm going to go over the grid a little bit more again. And then there is, I don't know if it's necessarily a mantra, but it is an affirmation, which helps you clear your subconscious of junk thoughts. Now, when you're initially practicing it, you need to do it. They recommend 20 minutes a day for a week. After that, your body starts to emit the auric field of the Arcturians, which is that blue. And then from there, I practice it 3 minutes a day as requested. So for me, usually I do it in the meditation, 3 minutes a day, then I stand up and I do the grid. And anytime I do that, I feel really amazing. So I'll be happy to share it with you. Thank you so much. Thank you for your time, ladies. It's a wonderful week. I know I included a few extra guided meditations that I've done before on YouTube. Again, if I don't know if that Steve Nobel has any on the Insight Timer app with Arcturus, but he is wonderful. So just have fun, play in the frequencies, right? Don't leave Arcturus. Stay in it for this week. Notice what you feel, call on your guide, think about blue light. Maybe this picture will help. And just see what you can do with it. It's going to be really fun to explore. Any questions before we go?
I have a question.
Yeah.
So I heard that Arcturians are like teachers. Do you know anything about that? And I was actually also talking to my friend today, telling her like, oh, how much I love data analysis and research and all of this, because that's my day job. She's like, oh, that sounds kind of like Arcturian. I'm like, oh, are they kind of like scientists or what?
Yeah, yes. I feel like anything in the science, math, sacred geometry, healing energies, they're very intellectual. So they have purportedly a lot of them are working in 11th and 12th dimension frequencies. So to me, they're master teachers and healers. They're like what you would think about as university professors in terms of sciences and math. But then because they also understand the esoteric world, they blend it together in the way that our world used to, because science and astrology used to be really connected, right? Science and spirit. And then the church kind of separated it, but now we're bringing it back together. So I agree. Anyone that you see that's like kind of a leader, a teacher, just kind of elevated in their stature, that to me, that tends for me to think about them as an Arcturian in general, especially if they're got a little bit of few quirks, like kind of Big Bang Theory as well, like that. Do you know what I mean? Like that kind of vibe. So anyhow, all right, ladies, thank you. Wishing you a wonderful week till we see each other again. Enjoy the frequencies. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me, to message me anytime, and I'd be happy to answer. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Blessings, everybody.
Blessings.
Thank you.
Bye, loves.